Here, this is Casual Crypto and Coffee, where I just look at the charts on a very casual level. A lot of these charts I have not looked at before for this whole week. Got coffee here on my table, ready to go. The deal is, basically I cover Bitcoin very briefly, but I tend to leave these videos, the coffee videos, more for altcoins, so we can kind of browse them together. It's also my longest format of the week, so if that's something that you don't like, you can look forward to other ones like Observations with Otsu that tend to be in the 15 to 20 minute range. And I've got mini market updates, which I put in my Nowhere Discord. Those are about 5 minutes or less, and those are posted 3 times a week in my Discord. You can look forward to that. So I got different videos at different time frames. This is more of a casual look, and we'll just kind of see what we're going with. So thing is, the market looks a little that's about the right expression. Just looks pretty deflated. So we're going to look at that again. We'll spend maybe 2 minutes on Bitcoin, then we'll focus on Ethereum. We'll just go down the list here. We'll focus on these 6, and then we'll focus on some other ones. We'll look at a lot of DeFi. I think we'll look at a lot of DeFi coins today, especially Link. They had some news today, so we'll go over to that. And then, I don't know, I'll try to keep it as short as I can, because I've had a lot of people talk to me. So many people have said, hey, Otsu, I love your work, I love your content, but you're just too dang long. So we'll focus on shortening that as we go. That's been a goal of mine, to shave it off every week. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go to Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin is first. We're going to go on the 3-day actually. And so basically here, we've had a few different things. We've had the divergence here. This also shows up on the 2-day. And so we are still within this divergence. And so that's a little bit of a you know, it's a good thing if you're a bear. And we have this structure right here that is currently failing. So this needs to reclaim higher for the close. That's basically it for Bitcoin. It's been pretty boring otherwise, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Another thing is, we did break below the 50, so this is a sign where I'm kind of checking out on a lot of these. The A rune is actually in a bullish consolidation, which is interesting because that means price should be going up, and it's not. So what that tells me is that we might actually see, you know, something like a drop with a sharp, you know, bounce back up. That's something that we could see, and we may even see that. I don't know. I'm not guessing in that regard. That's just usually what the A rune does when it has these patterns, and price action does not reflect those patterns. So that's basically what you got with that. Other than that, there's not really much to say. We can kind of look at the 4-hour, just how bad this is. Another way that we could look at this, and you know, I don't want to put any hopium for anybody here, but another way that you could look at this is kind of drawing the liquidity gap, right, or the liquidity zone right here. And so we are still above that zone. So as long as we're above 29.5, you know, I'm not really too concerned about this. That's when I would start looking for maybe like short, low time frame shorts. I'm not going to short this market, because we're still in a bullish scenario on the weekly, and so that's what I got to work with. The biggest thing for me, and I tried to mention this earlier, but I couldn't frame it properly, is making sure you have a good emotional discipline to your market trading, basically. So you have a tendency when you get something like this is to just start going crazy, like, oh, you know, you got to buy this or you got to sell here. And so your emotions start taking over, because you're trying to find a fix, or you're trying to find a reason for things to go the way that they're going, and you don't have to. It's easier. Long term, it's probably better for your trading performance, and it's probably better on your stress, and it gives you less screen time as well if you just don't use your emotions so hard on your trading. And that's basically it. That's all I really want to say about Bitcoin, is don't let your emotions get to you, because this is the type of market that makes you do that. So don't fall into that trap. So anyway, that's Bitcoin. Now we're going to get to some alts. I'm going to cover Ethereum. I'll cover Ethereum very briefly, because it's, I'll tell you why. And then we'll go into Solana and the rest of them. Let's go to Ethereum. It's raining pretty heavily here, so if you hear some background noise, that's probably what it is. So with Ethereum, the best scenario that I saw here, and I explained this in my video on Monday, is that we just have this big triangle formation here. We had a touch up here, had the deviation. Now we're kind of consolidating within this zone. I'm only looking for a break of this zone. That's really all I'm doing. I think as far as if you go to like 1 day, I mean, you can kind of see that it's probably going to hit the red. And then if you go to the 4 hour, there's nothing really anything conclusive here to me. Like, this is not the type of price action that I'm good at, to be honest with you. And I think people should admit that. I think even the best traders in the entire world have conditions that they don't do good in. And so I don't think it's any fault just say that, right? To say like, this isn't something that I'm good at trading. There's nothing good here that I can take advantage of. You know, there's nothing. You got trend lines, but they don't really go anywhere, right? So there's nothing really much to say. Like, you have a chop and all of a sudden you have a big down move, and then you get the chop again, and the next thing you know, you're going straight up, and then it gets complicated, right? So I simplify it by zooming out, and this is the best that I can look at here. Play the break of this above here or below here. That's basically it. The RSI still looks healthy. The A rune, you know, is in a bearish consolidation, but that's not unusual for this type of price action. I think we'll hit this red trend line. I think that's my opinion. And probably the next week or two. So, and that's why I say I didn't want to spend much time on Ethereum, because just like Bitcoin, there's nothing much to say. And so we wait for the big move, and then we just continue with that. So, so that's it. I'm going to focus more on Solana because it's getting a little bit of movement, so we'll do that one. All right, let's go to Solana. We have kind of a breakdown here in the works. So the thing here, the biggest thing I want to see, so we have this, I think, let's go to the weekly. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place in my thoughts. So on the weekly here, we had a pretty good breakout. We had this retest failure, came back up, but then it broke above. So that's really good. And this is something that you really want to see out of a really good, strong move. The problem is that we are not getting it currently. And as of right now, we're hitting close to minus 3% for the day. And if you want to, I think it's the 3 day that looks, yeah, this is a good example. We held this, now we're going back below. If we go back below this is going to be really terrible for the price action, that we're not going to, you know, we're not going to have any sustained momentum to the upside. And that's going to be very, I was just explaining this in the Nowhere Discord, that this is a position that you do not want to lose if you are a Solana fan, because it's going to probably take us back to the $20 range, if, you know, or more, even maybe possibly $18, $19. And so, you know, it is what it is. If that's true, then that's a better buy opportunity potentially. But this is, when you see a coin as big as Solana lose a big of a level like this, that is not a good sign for the coin or the market in general. So anyway, that's what's going on with this. We're kind of having some struggle right here, and generally, unfortunately, in my experience, that's a sign that it will go back below, but we'll see. This is a coin that I'm in. I'm currently about halfway underwater, a little under half, and that's okay. But this is a level that's so clean, like, I will take this every day that this is presented to me, because 9 times out of 10, this becomes a very profitable trade. And so it's unfortunate that it's doing this right now, but this is the level. You want to see this hold the bottom of this line, the bottom of this order block, but preferably go back above the zone. So one of the two is what you want to look for. We have the bearish wedge on the A rune beginning to accelerate. That's typically a sign that this trend line will get met and broken, unfortunately. But we'll see how that goes. Overall, I don't want this level to be lost. I think there's a good chance that it will, and it's really sad to see. Other than that, there's really not much to say. A lot of these coins, there's really not much to say on lower time frames. But we can kind of look at this. You do not want to see this big, you know, let's look at a different chart, because I got stuff here I can't necessarily get rid of, but why is there stuff on here too? Anyway, I hope I just didn't get rid of it. So anyway, when you see a big drop like this is not what you want to see. but that's what we got. So overall, this is not a level that we want to lose, but this is a level that we are currently in the process of losing. And so it is what it is. We are starting to recover, maybe just a little bit, but this area of contention, really this whole area right here, is what we're battling out with. You want to see a break above that if you're a bull. I know some people want downward price action, but in my experience, people that tend to want that typically don't do anything when they do get it. So anyway, that's Solana. Very quick with that one. Let's go ahead and go to, I'm going to do Binance Coin and Dogecoin and MATIC probably together. All right, so on to Binance Chain. Let's get rid of this again. Go on. Let's go to the third day. So I've been pretty vocal about this little zone here in other videos, where this whole thing needs to really hold. We are above it, which is pretty good, but overall, still weak. It's, you know, a lot of people don't seem to have interest in buying it. Like, I don't really see it get talked about. And honestly, with the new news like Chainlink, which we'll talk about later, that kind of puts another stake in Binance Chain, because it helps with more cross compatibility. I believe that of all the I'll have to look it up. I don't want to say that without verifying it, but I think Binance Coin was not on the list of supported testnets for Chainlink. I think it's only EVM based ones, which makes sense because Chainlink is a layer 2 of the Ethereum network. And so I think that does give less relevancy to Binance Coin. So we'll see. I think right now Binance is, I might even take it off the roster and replace it with maybe XRP. Let me know. Do you think I should replace Binance with XRP? Because this feels like Binance and XRP have changed spots. Like, since XRP has pretty much won their case with the SEC, they don't have to worry about their price action like they used to. Where Binance now is still in trouble a little bit as far as like the political drama, and so that leads to mediocre price action. And I can tell you from experience, looking at Ripple, looking at other ones, Luna I think was another example, is the price action just starts to like fail. And so I would want a key level to be reclaimed here, honestly. See if I can focus higher first. I mean, well, one, this is definitely a new high for this area first, but I think overall maybe like 273. So I think I might deprecate Binance from my list. So anyway, let's go ahead and go to Dogecoin. Not much to say about Binance either. A lot of these coins, there's not much to say really, unfortunately, and I hate to kind of waste your time, but Dogecoin looks okay. I like this curl up here on the weekly. And again, on the lower time frames, there's not much. I think a lot of people are just waiting this out, honestly. But the weekly looks okay. And this is kind of where I said this a few times this year, I think, and I think I even said this holiday season of 2022, that you should focus on getting a lower price point and just hold. Don't focus about trading so much. Just hold your positions. So with Dogecoin, I like the weekly here. Other than that, I think there's not much really here. Again, same kind of price action as Ethereum. So let's go ahead and go to MATIC. MATIC's doing very good today. Let's go ahead and erase that. Weekly looks okay. I think, oh, it did break up above here. Okay, so that's good. Overall, this is not terrible. We had this trend line break. Not really a retest yet, so we might see that, but we did get the bounce off the 50, and that's pretty good. Other than that, let's see. We got a bounce off of there, so that's okay. Got a bounce from this range, that's also okay. I like this, actually. But we'll see how this goes. I like the candle rejection here so far, so that's another good sign. I think overall, we had, let's see, this whole area was basically a retest point from here. So that's a good sign. I like this overall. It's kind of got like a weird Adam and Eve type application, but it doesn't really behave like one. If this can get reclaimed on the third day, especially, I think this is pretty good overall. That's about it. I think we could see a retest of the 85-cent range. That makes sense to me right here. So something like so. I think that would be a pretty good one. Or we could kind of like long from here. If you get another touch of the red line, I think that's a good sign that you could long. Overall, MATIC probably looks the best of all of them. So I think that's something to keep in mind. So, all right, let's look at a few more. I think I'm going to look at SNX. I'm going to look at Chainlink because we had that big push today. And then I think we will cover one other one, probably AAVE or Comp, one of the two. Actually, we'll just cover all four of those. So we're going to go to SNX first, and I'll cover them all in one section. So they're not going to be time stamped individually. All right, so for SNX, we're still at this still at this range. I think I discussed this in a different video. But overall, we have this consolidation period. We had the deviation. We're still kind of in this zone. Excuse me. And so I'm basically waiting for a break of this zone. A lot of these altcoins, I keep emphasizing this more and more, is that unfortunately lower time frames they have too much noise, too much things to focus on, where I would really just look at the higher time frame perspective and save your money and wait for those higher time frames. But we can kind of look and see what we got here. So overall, we have we have a divergence here. We have a higher high locally, but then we have a low on the RSI, so this is kind of divergent. I don't think we're going to kind of go up to this zone. We might just go to a retest of 236, I think. And that's probably where I would consider start building a position in anticipation of this breakout. I think SNX is a blue chip coin. A lot of people, I don't think people disagree with me, but I don't think people realize its potential. And so I would probably look at a buy-in at 236 and even possibly hold it. But we'll see. That's somewhat of a different story, depending on how, if you want to hold this, trade this, whatever. So 4 hour kind of just shows you the bearish divergence on a smaller scale. And so I think we could break that down and go back to the mid. So that's SNX. Let's see, which ones did I say? We'll do AAVE next. Get rid of all this as well. Let's see. So now we're hitting 4% on the Solana trade. So overall, one thing that I like about this is that we had, I think, there you go. I think I had that here for a reason. So let's get rid of all this. Let's kind of zoom up. So we kind of have a descending triangle formation here. A lot of people have different opinions on this. Some people think that that's going to go to new lows. I'm not convinced, because that would put us below sub 20, and that's a pretty big drop from here, because it wouldn't just necessarily be this break, although that's possible, and that's a 30% break. But if we go down here, you're talking 70%. I don't know if that would happen per se, and if it is, it's either a sign that the market's going to completely die, or AAVE is like the best buy ever. So one of those two. But I'm looking for a range break of this trend line, and if it does, I think, again, that's another good holding position to have. On the 4 hour, this looks incredibly weak here. So I'm looking at something like this. I can almost probably guess it's going to hit to 70 even, and then there we'll get some sort of pivot point as far as, are we going to bounce from there, or are we going to go below? But this is an area of interest to me. Other than that, I think that's pretty solid, self-explanatory. So let's go ahead and go to comp as well, and then we'll save link for last. So this one here, I've done a lot of studies on comp, because it's pretty much the first coin that has kind of, started this kind of run. So we've had this consolidation period. We have deviations. You might even be able to reinterpret this a little bit differently, and so that's possible as well. But the point is, we had a consolidation period. I think the trouble is the time frame. Yes. But either way, we have a divergence. It's here on the third day. It's here on the 1 day as well. And so I can also tell you with slope like this sounds really dumb, and this is something that I've personally learned, is when you have a big slope, a big incline, it's kind of like a car, right? Like a car is hard to kind of go up a big incline that way. And so this has a tendency to fail almost always. That's not typically sustainable. One of two things happen. Either it goes parabolic, which is probably not appropriate for this current market conditions, or it'll go back down. And when it does, it tends to do that golden ratio. I'm not a big fan of the golden ratio, but here makes sense at $54. This isn't golden ratio, this is half. Golden ratio is like 61 or something. I'm not a big fan of using it, but what I usually do is take the mid. I can see these two here coincide, so I'm looking for basically a touch here, and that actually matches here as well. So that's pretty good. I think that might even be better. I should have saw that actually. So something like so is probably where I would probably start building position. I like comp a lot, and this is a position where this should hold. Comp is a coin that should perform well, and if it doesn't, then that's a bad sign. So anyway, let's go on to Link and see what is going on with this. All right, so Link, we just had the move up. We had the news that it had some cross-chain compatibility stuff going for. It's basically testnet for now, and this has ended up being pretty good. They announced this at a really good time as well. I've mentioned this before, so that we kind of had, this looks more appropriate. This looks like a deviation to me based off of how I can do this. So we had a deviation here, and then we had a spring. So, and I mentioned if we can go above the mid, this is a good sign. Overall, I like this position a lot. I think Chainlink is a coin that you should hold as a blue chip coin if you are into those things. The big thing is if we see a break of 8.7, that is something that I think that you should hold on to as long as you can, and should see about a 5x. Overall, I don't think, it's unfortunate that it's only 5x, but that's just how it is. But I like Chainlink here a lot. I really do. I would like it even better if it can break above the 8.7 range. But this was your sign. The spring up above this zone was the sign to buy, and I think you'd be up like 60%. No, 30. I don't know what my math is really wrong right today. So 33% from the recovery on that. I think I was combining. Anyway, different story. So I like this a lot. Like I said, I want this to break above. If we go on the 4-day, we are kind of reaching some oversold territory, but that doesn't have to be the case. Another thing I also see is you have a break out of this, so that's a good sign. Typically when that happens, it goes parabolic or it retouches this zone. So anything like 750 to 720 is probably a really good buy opportunity. And so I would probably look at it like so. You know, something like this, target below this area, because this is also a bullish engulfing, or a bullish breaker. So this also tells me that we could probably see downward momentum first. And so something like that looks good as far as most of it. There's the rest of it. Another thing that you could do is target like so and go below this range. I have a hard time thinking it's going to go below this whole thing. I do think it could go as below as here. So that's one thing to look at for that. So anyway, that's the link. That's also the video. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know again what you think. I'm planning to roll out some education-based videos here pretty soon and kind of mix it up. I do a lot of charts, a lot of chart requests, things like that. If you like chart requests, go to Nowhere Discord. That's my Discord, Nowhere HQ, and that's where I discuss a lot of these. I also do charts. I'm going to have a premium service coming up, and a lot of things in store for that. So I hope that's something that you want. If you want to learn more, I have Apex Academy. It's basically like a masterclass that I help you with one-on-one, and we kind of go through that. That's also that's a different Discord community. I have 2 of them, and so I also have bots coming up as well. So let me know what you think. Give me some comments, and as always, I hope you have a great day.